Hello everyone, hope you all are doing great, and welcome back to another video from devtechie.com. So in this video we're going to be creating this zigzag view in order to display this zigzag kind of border for any of your image. So we're not going to be using any image for this, but we're going to be creating our own border basically by using path and custom shapes. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. What I've got here is a simple view, and this view has basically a basic setup. There is a V stack, and it is ignoring all safe areas. And I have currently paused the preview, so let me go ahead and resume this. And you should see whatever you're seeing here. Okay. All right, so first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna start working with a new struct, and this struct is going to be a shape type, so we're gonna call it Zig Zag bottom. Okay, so it's going to basically be the bottom shape, or yeah, so bottom. Okay, and this is gonna conform to the shape protocol. And shape protocol has some conformance requirements, so let's go ahead and fulfill those. Okay, now one thing we want to make it configurable is how much the depth of this zigzag, the points, the pointy stuff, how much it's going to be. So for that we're going to actually create a variable called depth. Okay, and this is going to be of CG float type, so we're going to expect basically our caller to pass in this information. Okay, now next, for the path, we're gonna first create a variable for path. Okay, and then we're gonna start drawing the top border. Okay, so first we're gonna actually reach out to rect.minx and min_y. Okay, that is going to give us the top, and we can actually move our point there. Let's go ahead and see what okay, there we go, perfect. So we need to create it as var instead of let. That's what I was complaining about. Let's return p, that way our errors go away. Okay, now we're gonna add a line from the top left, basically, which is the min x and min y, to max x, so horizontal line. Okay, so let's draw that. So p dot add line to, and we're gonna add CG point. Once again we're gonna be doing x and y. X is going to be rect dot max x. Okay, and it's still at the top, so min y. Okay, now let me change this. This is actually autocomplete added that as max y, but we should be creating min y. Okay, now I've got this so far. I want to leave it like this, and first I want to come back and basically create our VStack, our view, which is going to be calling this, so we can actually see all these changes, all these shapes, basically taking shape as we work through it. Okay, so we're going to change a few things here. First thing is, inside the VStack we're going to create an image. I have an image called sample, so I'm going to use that inside my assets catalog. It's quite big, so I'm going to set it to resizable. Let's scale to fit, scale to fill. Let's do that. Okay, and let's constrain the height, and the height is gonna be 300. That's what I'm interested in. And we're gonna mask with basically the zigzag bottom. The depth that I'm gonna provide is gonna be 2 points. Okay, sorry, 12 points. Let's fill this. Sorry, let's fill the mask. So let's create this as curly. There we go. so we can actually have our content a little bit more rich. And let's fill this with a black color. Okay, and a frame, we're gonna set the width as infinity and height as infinity. Okay, and then we're gonna add the animation, and we're gonna use the new animation called smooth. Okay, and for the value, we're gonna set it as same value as the depth. Okay, so now we have basically our shape ready to go, and underneath this VStack, we're going to create a list, and this list is going to iterate 0 to 10. Okay, and we're going to get index at each for each iteration, and we're going to simply say text, and let's say dev techie /I. Okay, that way, like, we have like 10 of these. Okay, so now we have basically our view is ready. Okay, so we're gonna, as we work through our example for the shape, we're gonna see things shaping up. Okay, so we're gonna go back into our b.add line. We are going to add a point, a max x to min y. Okay, that's one. Now let's go ahead and draw the right hand side border. So add line to cg point, and in this we're gonna add x and y, rect dot max x and rect dot max y. Okay, so that's like our other line. As you can see, like our shape is starting to like look something, so that is good. All right, so next thing we need to do is once we have like top border and the right border, we're gonna draw the bottom border with zigzag line. So if let's say the depth is defined as 0, user has set depth as 0, that means they want a straight line, a straight cut. So we can actually simply add that line. So if the depth is equal to 0, in that case we are simply going to add a new line. So add line, and we're going to have a cg point with x and y value as rect dot min x and max y. Okay, so let's go ahead and try this out by setting this as 0, and as you can see, we have a straight border here. Okay, now let's go back to 12. All right, and put the else case together. Now here we want to draw a zigzag shape. Okay, for that I think I would have to actually calculate the path, the start point, the end point, and it is a reusable function. So let's go ahead and create a new function here. So we're going to create a private function called draw zigzag. Okay, and we can expect a path to be passed in. This is going to be an in-out type variable, so we're going to expect the path to be passed in, and then we're going to have a start point, which is cg point. We're going to have an end point, which is going to be another cg point, and then we can have a height, which is going to be a cg float. Okay, and this function is what we're going to call here draw zigzag path. We're going to pass our p variable, which is the path variable, and we are going to pass basically the cg point for start. So the start point x is going to be the x is going to be rect.maxx, rect.maxx, and 2 is going to be rect.maxy. Okay, and then for the, so this is, sorry, this is from y is rect.maxy. Okay, now the 2 is another CG point. Okay, and in this we're gonna have rect.minx and rect.maxy. Okay, and then height is basically the depth. All right, so this is basically our zigzag function. Now we're gonna draw the left border. So add line CG point x and y, rect.min x and rect.min y. Okay, and we want to also close any subpath that we are creating, so we're gonna just say close subpath. All right, so this is our basic setup. Now let's go ahead and start working on draw zigzag function. All right, so let's continue to build our function. So we're gonna first start by calculating the length. Okay, so length is going to be defined by the start value, start point, and the end point. Okay, so okay, so this is gonna give us the length. Now we're gonna determine number of zigzags that we're gonna create based on this length and the height value. Okay, so okay, so we're gonna have our length and height times 2. Basically we need to determine, like, how many number of zigzags, because there are, like, ups and downs, so we need to actually multiply by 2 to get the correct number of zigzags. Now we need basically a zigzag length for each, so that we're going to determine by dividing the length from the number of zigzags. Okay, number of zigzags times 2. Okay, there we go. Okay, so these are all the variables that we're gonna need. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna for into number of zigzags, and then we're gonna create points. So for I in 0 to less than number of zigzags, this is correct, we're gonna first determine the offset. Okay, and the offset is gonna come from basically CG float I times 2, basically current item that we are iterating on, and then the point 1 is going to be CG point x dot so start dot x, and we're gonna minus the offset, but we also need to consider the zigzag length, so zigzag length. Okay, and y is gonna be just start dot y without any any offset, sorry. Okay, so this is our point 1, so let's go ahead and make sure we have CG point start dot x, and then we are subtracting the offset times zigzag length, and then y is the start point. Okay, so that's point 1. Let's draw point 2. Point 2 is going to be a CG point once again, and let's go ahead and type this up. Okay, so this is going to be a CG point. Basically we're going to start with start.x. Okay, and we're gonna basically first subtract the offset plus 1, sorry, it's not equal, offset plus 1. Okay, and then we're gonna multiply this with zigzag length. So zigzag length. Okay, and the y point is going to be start dot y minus height. And I would highly encourage you to try, like, many combinations once you complete it, to see how different combinations actually make the effect, right? You may come out, like, with a completely different idea, like, once you start trying this out. Okay, so third point is CG point, and let's go ahead and set X and Y. Okay, so the X is going to be start dot X. Okay, and the start dot X and minus, we're gonna offset plus 2. Okay, for zigzag to go up 9 times zigzag length, and for the Y we're gonna have just start dot Y, because we want to end at the Y position. Okay, so the length, the points are equal. Now we're gonna add this into path. We're gonna say add line to path, and we're gonna provide 0.1. Okay, and then path dot add line 0.2. Okay, so you can see this is what 0.2 looks like, and then path dot add line 0.3. Okay, so this is basically what we get, and at the end we want to add a path to end. Okay, so path to end line. Okay, all right, so what we have is basically our zigzag is now created. Let's see, we have depth of about 20. Let's change this to 4, and you can see there's a fine depth that we are creating here, and you can set 15, which is gonna make it very prominent, like, big, in the sense, like, it's really high. Now, one more thing I want to show you. So, like, there's too many spikes. If you feel, go ahead and reduce this or take times 2 out from this, and you're gonna notice that you have basically an even smaller zigzag. So depending upon, like, what your use case is, you can actually basically adjust number of zigzags, or make this property as configurable as well. Like, do you want, like, more zigzags or like less, and based on the input from the user, you can actually determine how you want to show. But with that, we have actually finished working on our zigzag border. Like, we have created our zigzag border here. Now notice that there is this white color space, this white spacing in between the zigzag, right, and the image, and this you can fix. This is basically some offset that list has created to sort of add some background. So what we can do is we can first of all set the offset for the list. You can say in Y direction, we need offset of 40 points, let's say. Okay, so this basically now overlaps with the image. Now, because image is sitting on the V stack, and image is a Z index is at the same basically at the same level as list is Z index, so whichever comes later will sort of, like, overlap. So we can actually change that by defining the Z index for image to be 1. So that way, like, image sits on the top of basically in Z stack, it sits on the top of the list. And now you actually truly see the zigzag behavior, where your part of your text is sort of cut off in a way. Notice this part where, like, your D and T are partially showing up. That means there is no white spacing behind this cutout that we have created. Okay, so this is how you can actually achieve this effect with a little bit more fine-grained control. And once again, in this video we actually looked at how to create custom shape and custom border and apply that onto our lists. Okay, so with that, we have reached the end of this video. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys in another video.